Today, on the Vince Everett Ellison Show, we're going to talk about how the criminals in the inner city and how the Democratic Party have formed this cooperation, this cooperative, to milk the government out of money and to stay in power. We're going to put it all in line for you today on the Vince Everett Ellison Show. All right, let's get this thing started. You know, there's a guy out there online a lot and on the internet a lot and on YouTube and everything. His name's Charleston White. Charleston is an interesting brother. He's like a ghetto sage. And Charleston has this ability to use the street to get out his message, even though he hates the streets. There's not much that Charleston says that I disagree with. I might disagree with sometimes how Charleston says it because he uses the language of the street to get his message across. He kind of looks like the street in order to draw people to him. But he's a very, very intelligent brother. And sometimes his delivery is kind of off-putting because you think from how Charleston delivers information, you think that Charleston might not be as smart as he is. But he is. He sees things like I see them, but his delivery is completely different. And in my book, Crime, Inc., I talk about how the Democratic Party is a criminal organization. And I'm one of the few people that have ever brought this to the attention of the American people and put together how the Democrats use illegal immigration and fentanyl and buying votes and all stuff like that to sustain their power. And I also talked about how the Democratic Party uses gangs on the street. The first chapter of Crime, Inc., I talk about how the Democrats used these communist influences to create gang culture here in America so that the Democratic Party can control the inner cities. They use the gangs to do it. The gangs didn't just come from anywhere. They are part of the Democratic Party power structure. And how once the Democrats get in power, they use NGOs and they use government money to fund these gangs. You can go in any big city now and they got these groups, they call them violence interrupters, and they got little street guys go out there to try to stop violence, and the city councils and the mayors, they give them millions of dollars. And most of the time, the guys they give the money to are gangs themselves who are the ones that are causing the violence. They got gun buyback programs, and a gun buyback program is so stupid because what they do is they give a gang member money to turn in a gun that is no good, and then the gang member take the money that they gave them to turn in the no good gun and go buy themselves a brand new one. Liberals are the stupidest people in the world, man. Whatever you subsidize, you get more of. It's just that simple. Whatever you tax, you get less of. And so they talk about a gun buyback program, and all these liberals say, here, man, here's a gun that doesn't work. And they give them like $500. Then he go buy himself a new gun that works better. And I think they've done something, patting themselves on the back, virtue signaling, right? So they have these little areas in cities, they say, this is a gun-free zone. Well, a gun-free zone tells a criminal where to go with a gun and shoot up everybody and take what he wants, because there's no guns there. That's stupid, y'all. But I digress. So, Charleston, I was talking to my good friend Anton Daniels about why the Democrats don't want to end crime in the cities and why they are fighting Donald Trump to keep him out of these cities to end the crime. And here's what Charleston says. You can see it here.
Why do you think that Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass, all of these people these mayors are trying to turn down the help from the federal government to actually stop the crime in the communities?
Because black people's struggle and pain have always been a monetized gain for other people. If you stop the problem in the black community, then what happens to all those 501c3s that get all this money? From Goodwill to DAV, the Boys and Girl Club, the black churches, all these motherfucking 501c3s that get all this money to help funnel, shake, control. What happened, nigga? This is how you control, nigga. You need these problems to control. And what do? You monetize the control. It's called control chaos.
You know what? One of the things that he does speak on a lot, and he just got off of MSNBC, Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, is he keep talking about these forming more community groups, asking for $800 million more dollars.
Everybody who wants to help the black community is somewhere asking for somebody to get him some money.
Now, you understand it better now? Charleston broke it down in a way that's very simple that most people can understand it. Now, the question you have is, why is Donald Trump going in and doing this? Because most presidents have left it alone. Most presidents from like JFK up until now have said, the hell with them black folks. I mean, Democrat presidents don't bother because they're getting 90% of the vote, and Republican presidents don't bother because they can't get the black vote. Plus, they kind of, you've heard the story about Operation Rat, F-U-C-K, where they said, we're going to make a deal with the black Democrats that we won't come into your areas if you vote for our redistricting maps. Since they made that deal, the Republicans have had the House of Representatives for like 24, 25 years, and Democrats have had it only 8. So it works for them. And now Donald Trump is violating this deal. The question you have is, why is Donald Trump violating the deal? I'm telling you why. The Democrats got real low down after they beat Donald Trump in 2020. They locked up all the January 6 people, and then they went after Donald Trump himself and his children. You saw that Big Tish James tried to take all of his property, tried to bankrupt his family. That just got overturned in the courts. They tried to put him in jail. They tried to put criminal charges on him with Stormy. Yeah, man, all kind of stuff on Trump. Mar-a-Lago, when they raided it and tried to put him in jail for stealing his own papers, they came after Trump and his family. Donald Trump knows this, that if the Democrats ever get in power again, number one, they're coming after him again. They're going to try to put all these charges back on him because one of the things that's protecting him from being pursued now is that he's president, and you can't sue or go after a sitting president. But he knows that if they ever get back in power again, they're going to pick up all these old charges maybe and come after him again. And worse than that, they're going to come after his children, and they're going to come after his grandchildren. Because they see the Trump family as the biggest threat to liberalism and progressivism in the world. They believe they see Don Jr. coming. They believe they see Barron coming later on. They look at Donald Trump's grandchildren. They know the Trump name is golden in Republican politics. And just like they did on Game of Thrones, when the prince came to sit on the throne, they showed this little guy, his daddy died, and he was his dad's heir, and he sat on the throne, but his daddy was a carouser. They'd been going around the country, having outside children. And you could tell who all the outside children were because they had this long flowing white hair. He sent out his men to go, kill them all. We want no usurpers for the throne. Donald Trump knows that if the Democrats get back into power, they're coming for his family. So he has to pull up the whole undergirding of the Democratic Party and how it works. He wants to know that when he leaves in 4 years, that the illegals are gone, their vote-stealing operation in the inner city has been torn up, that the way they get money and launder it through all of these NGOs and whatnot is gone, that the colleges and universities who are indoctrinating these students, all the people that are working there are gone. The deep state, who's been in government now for the last 20, 30 years, all of these old jokers hired by the Clintons and Obamas are gone. that even the high schools and the grammar schools that are indoctrinating children into liberal thought. Yeah, the grammar schools that are bringing in the drag queens, that are taking out the Bible out of libraries and putting porn in. The ones that are allowing boys and girls locker rooms, boys and girls sports, boys and girls bathrooms. Yeah, Donald Trump says we pulling all of that out. And right now, you know what? The Democrats are fighting that. Yeah, Trump just won up in the state of Virginia, Loudoun County, said, hell no, we're going to still let boys go in the girls' bathrooms. And Donald Trump said, we're going to take your money. They're still being defiant. Why? The Democrats have put in an apparatus in America that they believed was going to make America more and more perpetually liberal to a point where it would destroy itself. This is a worldwide conspiracy to destroy this nation. And the Democratic Party is no longer the loyal opposition, y'all. They are the traitors. And Donald Trump didn't know it his first term. He knows it now. Because Barack Obama and his crew, they set up an apparatus in America from the grammar schools all the way up to the colleges and universities, to the deep state in the federal government, to the NGOs. They was going to give Stacey Abrams $2 billion down in Georgia. And Stacey was going to disperse that money out to take over the state politics, to make sure that Ossoff and Raphael Warnock was going to stay elected down there. Yeah, still elections. They use the NGOs to do that. Donald Trump is stopping all of that money. So if they're not, the same way that Iran uses money to pay Hezbollah and Hamas, when the money starts drying up and you can no longer pay your soldiers, that's when things get bad. So if they cut off the money from these NGOs, they cut off all of this money that the Democrats have that they're laundering to pay for these candidates and this street money. If they stop the illegals from coming in, so the cartels no longer, and he's getting the cartels too. You saw he blew up that ship in the Gulf of Mexico, and he's putting the cartels on notice. This dope you selling in America, and that money you're getting for dope and illegal smuggling that you then funnel to the Democratic Party, yeah, dog, that's over with. The Democratic Party gets that money from illegal sources, from inhumane, from immoral sources. The cartels fund them. Why do they fund them? Because Democrats let them sell dope in these inner cities, and they let them smuggle in illegals and sex trafficking. The teachers' unions fund them. Why? Because they give them money for nothing. And they hardly do any work, and these children are not learning anything. As a matter of fact, just like Sam Adams said, and I'm going to read it to you again just in case you forgot. Sam Adams said, "It is the interest of tyrants to reduce the people to ignorance and vice, for they cannot live in any country where virtue and knowledge prevail." So consequently, I'm leaving the house, I look at CNN, and you know things done got bad when CNN got to say, man, this is bad. CNN has reported that these ICE Democrats have basically destroyed the public education system in the United States of America. And so, oh, you just figured that out? They had some stats. They said that in 2013, 74% of the children in the United States of America could at least read on some level. Basic, proficient. Now, y'all, that's down to 67% in 2024. In math, in 2013, it was 65%. That could at least count. That's down to 65% now. Yeah. And then when it comes to science, we're down to 55%. We're the lowest in the industrialized world. And yet the teachers' unions want more money and the Democrats want to give them more money. You know why? Because, let me tell you again, it is in the interest of tyrants to reduce the people to ignorance. It is in the interest of tyrants to reduce the people to ignorance and vice. Why do they want to reduce the people to ignorance and vice, Sam Adams? Well, Sam says it's because they cannot live in any country where virtue and knowledge prevail. These suckers cannot live in a country. He didn't say just rule in it. A tyrant can't live in a country where virtue and knowledge prevail. This is why they are so comfortable in those ghettos, man. They don't want these places changed. They're like rats living in a rat hole. They don't want to come out in the sunlight. They come out at night because the sun, they can't stand it. They're like bats living in a cave. They can only survive where there's vice and ignorance. They love the graffiti. That's when Trump started cleaning up the graffiti and started cleaning up the homeless encampments. Oh, they got mad. What the hell are you doing here? I've gone in people's houses where the drapes have never been opened in years. The sunlight doesn't come in. This house smells like mildew. You live in the darkness like Jesus Christ says. It has nothing to do with color. It has to do with the fact that some people have a certain reprobate mindset. People are not poor because they're black or because they're white. People's houses are not dirty and their yards are not left unkempt because they're black or they're white. People don't live unhealthy lives because they're black and they're white, or because they're black or they're white. People live all of these ways because of one thing. You know what? Laziness. That's the end of it. That's all of it. My father taught me you must be excellent in all that you do. Not one thing, everything that you do. How you work, how you dress, how you keep your surroundings clean around you, how you treat people, how you pray to your God. Everything. It is a habit. You do it every single solitary day. From the time you get up to the time you go to bed at night. It is not what you do, it is who you are. And these people are evil people. And you can tell by where they live, the laws that they press, how they treat their constituents. They know these schools are no good. They know it. And down in New Orleans, a miracle has happened. Hurricane Katrina blew down all of the schools, and the Republicans in the state of New Orleans, in the state of Louisiana, told the people in New Orleans, we're not going to help you rebuild them unless you allow school choice. They fired all 7,000 of the teachers. New Orleans had the worst public educational system in the whole world almost. They rebuilt it with school choice and private schools, and now this is a miracle. One of the best school systems in the whole nation, and it's still mostly black. And the teachers' unions fought against it and still fight against it to this day. And every Democrat in the city sees the success of New Orleans. They know exactly how to replicate it, but they refuse. And yet you still vote for them. That means you are participating in your own destruction. So I don't want to hear anything about Republicans and conservatives when you are choosing your own slavery. Yeah, you're choosing it. Hell yeah, slavery is a choice. You choose it every day. The Democratic Party has used the KKK. They have used the Crips. They've used the Bloods. They've used the Blackstone Rangers. They've used everything they can. They've always used these militias to go down there and to wreak havoc and to force people into compliance. That's their game. They did it in the South during Reconstruction. They always will do it. That's their game. And Donald Trump is going down there, and he's breaking it up, and they are having a fit. Yeah, y'all, this is a fight to the death. But what does Occam's razor say? Because Democrats going to give you all kind of advice, all kind of reasons why they can't do well. We can't. Because of poverty. It's because of racism. Hell, it's because of slavery. It's because of Thomas Jefferson and George Washington. Cause of this, cause of that. No, you know what it's cause of? Occam's razor? The simplest answer is usually the correct one. You know what it is? It's what you want. It keeps you in power. That's why you do it. Why? New Orleans has shown you how to change it. You won't do it. You can take time with any person on Wall Street and ask them, what are the steps that we need to take to improve economic development in our area so people can have jobs and so they can buy homes and so they can raise their families? The first thing they're going to tell you is that before we can have any investment, we first must have security. And the Democrats say, hell no. Well, player, we can't get nobody to invest millions of dollars into a store or into a factory or into a tech center if you jokers going to go down there and rob it and break out the windows and steal all the equipment. Well, how are we going to sell the dope, and how are we going to have our sex trafficking, and how are we going to have our criminal activity if we got police everywhere? Well, you got to choose, man. You know, you come and you're going, you come and you're going, you come and you're going, right? They keep the crime. It's amazing to watch. But Democrats need it. They have to have it. If they do not have it, they cannot exist. You have to understand that. You have to ask the question, do I hate conservatives more than I love my children? Why would you vote for a joker that will keep you in a war zone? But you know what? We made a promise that we were going to run these illegals out. And consequently, these illegals seem to be hiding amongst you. And since these illegals happen to be hiding in the inner cities, in these Democratic-controlled inner cities amongst you poor black people, that's where we got to come to get them. And since we know that the majority of you criminals and gangbangers down there are going to try to help hide them, and that you criminal gangbangers are the shock troops for the Democratic Party, you're the one that use enforcement, you're the ones that sell the drugs, you're the ones that get all the money and collect it and disperse it. You're the ones. And you and these no good black preachers, you know, these ICE Democrats, what are they? Ignorant, crazy, and evil? You want to do the song before we go? All right, let's do it. ICE Democrats, 80% are ignorant, 10% are crazy, and 10% are evil. Let's do it, y'all. Ignorant, crazy, evil, okay? Ignorant, crazy, evil, all right? Ignorant, crazy, evil. Now, Charleston White tried to break it down for y'all. Tried to let you know why the Democratic Party does what it does, how they are invested in these criminal gangs, whether they are Crips, whether they are Bloods, whether they are Al-Rukin. You can walk down any city street in any one of these ghettos and ask any young black person who's heading these gangs, and they'll tell you, yet the police can't go get them. Everybody knows. Hell, they wear the gang colors and they do the gang signs. Everybody knows who they are. But the Democratic Party allows them to act. They allow them to operate because they benefit from them. They don't just benefit from them, they fund them. They allow them to operate and sell drugs and do criminal activity, and then they get these NGOs to fund them so that they can pretend that these groups have some type of noble cause or some type of benevolence. The Democratic Party is the evilest organization in the history of the world. As I told you before, they're part of perverts, liars, psychopaths, and anti-Christian bigots. Thugs, hoes, and rappers. And they're making fools out of all of you black Democrats and all you white Democrats. Well, the white liberal Democrats know what's going on. We're like a plantation to them. You Negroes don't deserve any better. You deserve everything you get because if you're stupid enough to allow this to happen to you, you're supposed to have it happen to you. That's how they see it. You have chosen your plight. And they're going to give you your just desserts. And they're going to make you smile while you eat it. Hope you wake up. Give you the information so that you will. And I believe that most of you will. I believe you're going to wake up. I believe you're going to raise your children properly. I believe you're going to do the right thing. And I believe you're going to run these Democrats. Because if I didn't believe it, I wouldn't be here today. And I'm going to keep bringing this home to you because I'm going to wake you up. I hope I did you some good here today. Join me again for another edition of the Vince Everett Ellison Show. All right, friends, Vince Everett Ellison is here. I want you to go to my website. And on my website, you're going to see a lot of great stuff, man. You're going to see that we got T-shirts, we got caps, you got my books, my documentaries, you got all kinds of stuff on VinceSpeaksTruth.com. Go there. We're dropping new T-shirts. We're dropping new merchandise. My new book, The End of Tolerance, is there. The End of Tolerance. Make sure you get it. Make it #1. If you got my first 3, get The End of Tolerance. It's just as good. And it's telling us we have to end our tolerance with these leftists, these Democrats. We can no longer allow them to sexually groom our children. We can no longer allow them to castrate little boys and call them little girls, run God out of the public square, take away our guns, take away our sovereignty. No longer allow it. So go on VinceSpeaksTruth.com. That is VinceSpeaksTruth.com. Hit merchandise. You'll see the T-shirts. You'll see the caps. You'll see the books. You'll see the documentaries. You'll see it all. And let's keep this ball rolling. God bless you.